all of a sudden we're up over a world record with this puppy. It's not a puppy, it's a bear. Welcome back to Backwoods Boys, everyone. Hey guys, so it's springtime. Hunting season for the most part is done because winter's over, but
not every season.
Not every season, that's the thing. Spring is an extra exciting time
For snow geese.
Yes, for snow geese.
That has nothing to do with this video.
Black bear season. That's what time it is. We've got black bears coming out of dens right now. They'll be looking for mates and wandering around, cruising the forest. And so the season is opening up in what, 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, about that.
So actually, less than 2 weeks.
Well, some places will be open now. I think some places open April 15th.
Yeah.
But
and that's just up here, down in the States, maybe earlier even. So what we're going to show you today is how to score a black bear skull.
how to properly score a black bear skull.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Absolutely. So first off, just to mention, this is not a normal, like a good black bear skull. I found it when I was shed hunting. It has no teeth in the front and it's very, very dry. But it's our prop that we're going to use because when our hunters come up, for some reason, they pay for a bear hunt and then feel like they want to take the bear skull home. I don't know why.
Never leave it with us.
So we're going to use this guy just to give you an idea of what to do. So it's actually really simple. This is probably not going to be a long video. Shane has taken the SCI the official scoring. There we go. There's a cross of professional and official.
Dad and I went through the course together. There's a whole classroom of us, and I was too young to be like on paper officially an SCI score, but I've gone through the class and I learned their little lessons.
So he knows what to do. So do I. I mean, bear skulls are about the easiest thing.
Yeah, bear skulls are really easy. You got two measurements. We'll maybe go over some of the, or at least maybe the most common mistakes made.
Yeah.
That is just don't do it, preferably. But so this is how you properly do this. You need calipers for a bear skull. There's different applications for calipers in some scoring with some deer antlers, but you almost never ever use them in SCI for those. Bear skull, always use them. So you need your calipers. So if you hold that for me.
Alas, poor York. I knew him, Horatio.
So the bear skull is the total score is a combination of the greatest length from the ball at the back of the skull to the front of the front teeth here. And we're missing these, so this score will be a little under from what it should be. But it's that measurement combined with the widest point on the cheekbones. So those two measurements combined, really easy. You just got to find the absolute widest points, and you'll want your calipers set so that you can still move them easily, but when you move them off the skull, they don't adjust.
Yeah, you want them to be rigid.
Yeah.
So, imagining that there's teeth in the front, that you're lining it up right on the front of the teeth.
Yeah. For this case, just to be most accurate, I'm just going to go off of the skull itself, but the teeth would stick out further in reality, so this will be a little bit smaller than otherwise it would be. Alright, so right there would be the widest point. You just slip them off without moving them. It's nice when they're rigid enough that you can, you don't have to be super careful with how you handle that. But then if you have your helper, hold those, or you can set them down on a table or whatever.
And if you slip your helper an extra $5, while he's pulling out the tape, he'll move those calipers even wider.
Oh yeah.
And if you forget to, he'll close them.
Alright, fist. So, you just get the one side of the caliper held right on the zero. You want to make sure it's very, very precise with that, because if you are over the halfway of a 16th, you round up with SCI. So every little bit can count. So right here we have 11 and 9/16. So we'll mark that down.
Perfect. And then?
Just wait. We're just gonna double check. I like to just double check as I go, because the calipers haven't moved yet. So in case I read something wrong or whatever, just always good to double check. Yep, bang on 11 and 9/16 there.
Perfect. And now we do the width. Here, I'll hold it back to the camera so we can kind of see.
So now it's length plus width is all it is. You're just finding the widest points. Now I see that the cheekbones here have split out a bit. Again, for just accuracy's sake, for what I would normally do, I'll go to the widest point still, even though probably it wouldn't quite be here. Okay, so that's good there. And same thing, make sure it's setting up bang on the 0. Alright, so this is a good case of what I was talking about. This one is just a hair over the 1/2 So our 6 and what would that be? 6 and 12/16 will become 6 and 13/16.
Cool. And unlike deer, so deer are measured in eighths, like a tine is maybe 6 inches and 7/8.
Yeah.
Black bears are measured in the 16th gradation.
Yeah. Just because with black bears, you're looking on basically a scale of 9 or 10 inches to, and that would be a very, very small scale. Yeah. 9 or 10 inches to 23, I think is the record.
20 something, 23 something. So.
Yeah. So you're looking at this difference of 13 inches, 12 to 13 inches, whereas deer is...
It's got a variety. Like, I mean, you're literally looking at a scale, including deer farmed animals, of 700 and some inches. So yeah. It makes more sense for the deer to be only differences of eighths at that point.
Yep. But with the bear, you got to split hairs.
Yes.
So
did you already double check?
I did not. Good point.
I also swung these calipers around, so there's a chance they moved. We'll see.
They have not. That's, yeah.
All right.
Still just a hair over the halfway of that 16th. So I'll just add this up quick. All right, so this particular bear, again, taking into account it's in pretty rough shape.
My head is narrower than his.
So yeah, taking into account it's in pretty rough shape. Again, you can see those cheekbones, they're split out, missing the front teeth. This one would be 18 and 6/16,
which is actually not a bad bear.
Yeah, not a bad bear.
Yeah, and it's, again, I found it when I was shed hunting. This thing is dried for so long. Like, I don't know how many years I've laid there. Drying period normally I think is 90 days before an official score. To let the bones shrink a little bit. This has definitely had more than that. So when you add all of that up, as far as record, I mean, this thing is nowhere near a record. But
not even close.
Because it dried, you got to remember, you got to add on a bit of score. So if you add on, 6 inches and 6 inches, all of a sudden we're up over a world record with this puppy. It's not a puppy, it's a bear. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not good scoring. Which brings us to how not to score a black bear.
He didn't take the course. Don't trust him. Okay, but yes, good point. So the most common mistake that I've seen with people scoring their own bears is they just don't understand quite how to do it. They understand that it's the length and the width, but the most common mistake I've seen, if I'll hit you to hold that, is someone just takes their tape, and I've seen it bear skull, I've seen it with the hide and meat, everything's still on. They just take this, well, the back of the skull is there. We'll run this up to the front of the teeth. Alright, so in this case, this would be 13 inches.
Versus our measurement of 11 and 9. So
Yeah.
11 inches and 9/16.
Yeah.
Alright, and then spread.
And I'm going to add this up too,
Spread.
just to show the difference. So you'd start the zero right on the widest point there, and bring it over here. Alright, we got 9 and 5/16.
Versus 6 and 13.
So our 18 and 6/16 inch bear suddenly becomes, oh yeah,
22 and 6/16. Almost the world record. So we have had people tell us about this bear they shot. It was 23 and something inches.
Yeah.
And we were just blown away by this. And then we saw the skull, and it was
about this size.
About this
Granted,
size.
it's still a good bear.
This is a good bear.
Yeah.
But they weren't sure what happened, and we asked how they scored it. Well, just in the field before they skinned it, they ran it over the tape. They ran the tape over the hair, the skin, the meat, everything. That's not an accurate score. That's not how you do it. It has to be fleshed. Like, you don't want any meat, any sinew, nothing adding extra inches. It actually needs to have dried officially for 90 days.
Yeah.
It's not overland. You got to use these calipers. Make some of your own if you have to, but it has to be a straight line that you're measuring when you actually measure them, not wrapped around the circumference of the skull.
Yeah.
That said, remember, score is not everything.
Absolutely.
The animal itself, the hunt, that's what matters. And the score is for hunters to kind of give each other an idea of the size when they're wondering. But especially with bears, what I love about bears is there's so much to admire. You've got skull, you've got hair quality, you've got hair color, you've got claws, you've got size of the hide. Like, there's so many times where we've been blown away by just the square footage of that hide, even though we don't measure the square footage, because in order to do that you have to split them all the way up to the chin, and we do ours for taxidermy. I can't do that. But like, just the size of that hide, or sometimes, I mean, you get this bear, it's a black bear but brown. You remember the one I'm thinking of?
Yep.
It was a pretty small bear, but when you brush that brown hair back, it was white underneath.
White and woolly.
It was just the softest, most beautiful bear I've ever seen. And so there's so much to appreciate on these animals. The score of this skull will not do them justice.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
But it gives an idea when you're telling your story. People kind of have an idea of, okay, yeah, I get what size of bear you're talking when you're telling the story. But anyway, so when you're telling your friends about the size of the bear you got, that's how you measure it. Make sure it's measured properly, because we got to all be on the same playing field when we're talking about it. Otherwise, you end up with a nice, regular, average-sized bear becoming the new world record. And we don't want that. Well, I mean, we all want a world record, but we want a real world record. So, but that's how you do it. That's how you score a bear skull in a way that's not going to get you laughed at. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll have lots of other how-tos and adventures out in the woods. We'll see you then.
See you next time.